Hey guys, welcome back to Tipharot. It is me, Matt here, and today I'm bringing you a lucid dream story since you guys have been asking for more stories. Before we begin, I just want to say I've got a fan blowing on me and on the microphone at the moment, so hopefully you can't hear that. I am using a noise cancelling thing to try and get rid of that, but if my audio quality sounds a bit lower than normal because of that, then I apologise. Also, if this is your first time on the channel or you've been here a while but you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe because I've got over 500 lucid dreaming videos and videos about dreaming and all sorts. So without further ado, let's get on to the story itself. So this dream started off with me not being lucid. I was on this sort of road or path in a place that looked a little bit like Japan in terms of the architecture and, you know, basically the way the buildings, the roads and everything looked, even the plants and trees and so on. And I'm walking along this road. To my right hand side are some like houses or buildings or shops or whatever, and to my left hand side is a river, and this river is actually frozen over. And I remember I was looking around, looking at the shop signs and reading them and seeing what they said, and then I turned my attention to the river. I turned to my left to where the river was, and I climbed over the railing and down onto the frozen river, and then I basically skated across it. Like, I wasn't wearing ice skates or anything, I just skated across it on my shoes, which felt really fun, by the way. It felt a lot like how flying does in lucid dreams, actually, this kind of exhilarating sensation of just zooming along really fast. Now when I get to the other side of the river, there's a man standing there, and he says, "Don't use a spot like this, you should pick somewhere really remote, like out in the middle of China, if you want to go skating across the ice like this." And then somehow he like beams an image of a place into my mind, or like beams the location into my mind, and I know instinctively that if I close my eyes and imagine that place, then I will just appear there. And so I do exactly that. I imagine the place he told me about, and I appear in this like frozen tundra location that is supposedly in China. And I start skating on the ice, and I'm just zooming around in this like this massive field of ice that just seems unending in all directions. I seem to remember I saw like a ram or a goat or some similar kind of animal that was just grazing somewhere, and I'm not sure what the hell it was grazing on since the entire ground was ice, but I guess it found something. Then I'm not quite sure how this happened, if it was this location that changed or if I did the thing with closing my eyes again. But I remember looking around and there was like dark fog and mist in the distance, and there was like lightning illuminating the fog, except it was static. It wasn't like moving or anything, it was just like there were lightning bolts in the distance that were illuminating it, and everything looked dark and gloomy and the ground looked really dark and everything. And I remember being lucid at this point. I suddenly realised that this was in fact a dream, and in front of me I could see these little ruins that looked a bit like Stonehenge or something like that, like these giant stones erected in a circle. Now there are actually several of these dotted about the landscape, but there was one that was like in my immediate vicinity that I started heading towards, and they all looked like some kind of temples or something. So anyway, I start heading to this first set of ruins because I was interested, and this looked really cool. This looked like something out of a video game or something. Like, it was just so dark and gloomy, and the way the lightning lit up the sky and was just static there in the distance. It was probably one of the coolest settings I've ever been in any dream, lucid or otherwise, and I just wanted to explore it. So I'm heading towards this stone temple or Stonehenge like place or whatever, and I see what looks to be a giant book that is just floating in the air and spinning. Sort of like you get power-ups in certain kinds of games, like the Doom games and so on, and I actually do think that this dream was probably inspired by me playing Doom Eternal a couple of days before or something like that. It had that same kind of grim and dark vibe to it and the atmosphere. So I reached this floating book, and I think I've mentioned this before, but sometimes in lucid dreams I like to eat random things, just because eating things in a dream is really weird. Like, you can eat a massive object that's like bigger than your head, and you can like eat a piece of metal and it won't like hurt your teeth or anything like that. And so I occasionally just get possessed by the desire to eat some random object in my dreams, and I had this desire with that book. So I picked up the book, and somehow, despite it being like half the size of me, I ate the thing in one bite. And the second that I did that, I felt myself like imbued with just extreme strength and speed and power and everything. It was a really weird sensation, actually. Like, I've never felt anything like it, not in waking life and not in a dream before. It was just like feeling like I was, I don't know, 100 times stronger than I am or something. And so with my newfound super strength and super speed, I start moving even quicker to the temple or Stonehenge thing that is in front of me. But at some point I decided to turn around, and it's a good job that I did, because there was some kind of weird lizard head thing following me. I forget what they're called, but it reminded me of those floating eye things in Doom. Maybe someone knows exactly the ones that I mean and can post their name down in the comments. But it was a little more reptile looking, like it had a face to it and like a sort of reptile face, but it was the same kind of floating orb thing. And it was coming towards me and I just felt like it was evil and I had to get rid of it. Now you would think that given that it's a lucid dream and I know that, and you know, I've now got super strength or whatever, I would test out that super strength. But what do I instead do? I was like, hey, you know what? I've chomped down on a book, I can chomp down on a lizard head as well. And so I grabbed the lizard head thing and I just eat it in one bite. I think I was hoping that maybe it would make me feel stronger as well for some reason, but it did not. It didn't do anything, and it also tasted really unpleasant actually. Not like wildly unpleasant, because tastes in dreams don't tend to actually be very profound for me. They tend to be fairly mild, like just a sense of some kind of taste. But it tasted like something earthy and weird. But hey, I got rid of the evil lizard head thing. And I kept on going towards the temple again, and a bunch of these floating lizard heads started coming at me, so I did the same thing with all of them. I would just pick them up, chomp them down, pick them up, chomp them down, and I kept doing that. I think at this point I'm still hoping that one of them is going to give me that same boost that I got from eating that book, although that never happened, but hey, at least I got rid of them. And then at that point I woke up in bed thinking, well, that was an interesting dream, and I decided to write it down and decided to share it with you guys. If you want to hear more dream stories, then check out the dream story playlist I actually have on my channel. And also leave a comment down below if you want me to keep making videos like this. If you want to learn how to lucid dream for yourself, then be sure to check out my lucid dreaming book, The Lucid Dream Book. There'll be a link to it in the top right hand corner if you want to find out more, and there should also be a link to it down in the description below. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and enable all notifications so you can stay up to date with my videos. And if you want to keep watching, check out one of the videos on screen, go watch that, and I'll see you there soon. Take care.